It's the Bush League Mud Show. It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
Yo, what is going on? It is the Bush League Fucknuts back another night. Well, we didn't know if this was going to go down or not, Slade.
PJ.
We were confused on the scheduling because I saw NHL hockey for TNT being advertised, so didn't know of AEW Dynamite. This is your AEW Dynamite review, by the way, for October 27th. They were advertising this last night during NBA basketball, so I'm assuming, okay, maybe they're going back to Saturday, and I wasn't really paying much attention on social media to really know AEW's schedule.
Yeah.
But no, I saw earlier this afternoon, as advertised, they were going to be on a national live TV Wednesday night, and then they were going to give us the blessings of Connor McDavid in Edmonton versus Philly after Dynamite.
Yeah, so I guess this must be the new trend for the next 6 weeks here to get to the new year.
Make everybody happy.
Until they move them to TBS, we're going to give you a West Coast hockey game. So Dynamite is the lead-in into the hockey game. And boy, did fans who maybe have not watched wrestling in years, if they tuned in the final 10 minutes, they got a treat of some sorts.
I will say at least TNT got it right on the game. It was actually, as right now as we record, this is actually a good hockey game between Philly and Edmonton, and you got a marquee player after. But I told you, what the hell? After I started to see a few things on Dynamite, I said, you know what the hell? I'm going to get with the dumb shit tonight.
Yeah, you told me that.
So that's where we are. Anyway, first, though, before we get on to AEW Dynamite and a review of that show, there was huge news in the pro wrestling world that came earlier during the day, and we didn't plan on talking about this, but this just dropped the middle of the afternoon, and it looks like dark days are ahead, unfortunately, for a promotion that is credited, in my opinion, and I think many others, of reinvigorating indie pro wrestling from the 2000s on and really springboarding a lot of careers and pro wrestlers that we now see in the big promotions. That was Ring of Honor, ROH, Dave Meltzer, and also Sean Ross Sapp reporting that Ring of Honor has, as of today, they are releasing all their talents from their contracts at the very end of the year. And according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, he's reporting that the releases are effective not just at the end of the year, but if a contract goes beyond 2021, the talent will be paid until March 31st. Sapp also added that Joe Koff had told the talent that he had multiple meetings trying to fight for ROH, but ultimately it was Sinclair's call on this. Sinclair, so it's not really, the initial reports was that ROH wanted to take some time, take the hiatus, and reimage the whole thing. They were a big victim of the pandemic. They've been doing empty arena shows for well over a year now, while AEW, WWE, and New Japan, and Impact
now,
and you've got just about everybody that's brought fans back to these live shows. Everyone but ROH. And it's been, in the beginning, you could get with it. Fine, it was all about the wrestling, but pro wrestling is such a live crowd, interactive type business.
Yes.
You need live crowds. And to continue to sit there and watch ROH shows on television on Sinclair stations, and they're still doing the dark lit arenas with the empty seats, that was a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, and I guess for Sinclair, a lot of things going on, I guess, in their world. I know they were having the regional sports network thing a couple months back and whatnot, so I'm guessing this was on the chopping block for price cutting. They saw wrestling here, didn't think much of it, and like you said, this was probably the most notable indie promotion the last 20 years. I mean, I wouldn't call Impact an indie promotion, and I would just, with the homegrown talent they had, or they helped develop and move on to become big stars of what we're seeing on WWE TV and then now some on AEW. I mean, they had a huge influence the last 20 years, so it is
some of your biggest stars in the business. Your CM Punks, your AJ Styles, your Samoa Joes,
Seth Rollins,
and you can keep going on and on and on. The Young Bucks, whatever your cup of tea is with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes. When he left New York, he was able to find a home there in ROH. It's given so many guys a platform Christopher Daniels. I mean, you can
Yes.
just keep going on and on and on, but this is a promotion that has definitely done their due diligence, and it's unfortunate that they were, of all the promotions, to sit there and tell me that NWA and Billy Corgan was going to be able to outlast ROH, especially with Sinclair, a big company like Sinclair owning ROH. Definitely didn't see that coming. With Ring of Honor, also with Joe Koff saying that Sinclair made the call. The talent was also told reportedly that there was some type of TV show that will be in place after Final Battle, which I want to just say real quick, ROH just 6 days ago just announced the tickets and the tickets being on sale and everything.
Yeah.
The event's going to be December 11th. They're still going to hold Final Battle.
Okay.
And but yeah,
It's aptly named now.
Yeah, well,
Final Battle.
There you go.
Geez.
Perfect. Yeah. So they were told that some type of TV show that will be in place after Final Battle. They weren't told though when what that would be, but apparently there's going to be some type of TV show. I don't know if that's going to be some farewell, some send off.
You would have to think.
I don't. If you're doing a reimage, then you don't release your entire talent.
No. You would still keep some on board.
You would keep some, right? I mean,
especially the big names.
Yeah.
Like the Briscoes, Jay Lethal. I saw Jay put a thank you tweet out, but showed the release and all that. So, I mean, yeah, it's hit the talent here.
Yeah. Earlier in the day, the company, as we had just been talking about, they said they were going to be taking a hiatus from live events for the first quarter of 2022.
Well, they've been taking a hiatus live events for the last 2 years.
So they are hoping to return in time in April for the Supercard of Honor. Look, I don't like the smell of this is all. I think they're just leading people on. They don't want to completely shut the door.
Yeah.
I think this is all going to come down to Sinclair and what makes sense for them on their books.
Yes.
So, according to the PW Insider, ROH, as of right now, they do have a venue in place for that Supercard of Honor event that's going to be going on in April. An interview that was done with Mike Johnson of PW Insider, COO of ROH, Joe Koff, he was asked what that hiatus meant for the talent, and he replied that we care very deeply about our people and our talent. This is contractual and an individual conversation, and he was refusing pretty much to get into it beyond that. He was asked if the talent could at least take bookings elsewhere as of right now. He said that he had that conversation with them, and they would certainly be working with every talent for whatever needs that they need to fulfill whatever they're looking for. But if you go on some of these social media accounts, there's already people campaigning for bookings right now and soliciting, saying, hey, I'm available. So
I got to ask you this, too. When does the call from New York come and say, how much for that library?
Well, when does the call from Tony Khan and say, how much for that library?
You think they'll both have a bidding war for it?
Well, I think
because that's the thing, though. Vince actually has the network where Khan has to go through HBO Max and everything else like that. I think he's got to go through 3 different channels. So I wonder if there will be a bidding war for it or not. But I think WWE needs it more with the superstars they have from that promotion to get that more on their network.
Now, you got to remember, Tony Khan is also looking, and rightfully so, you're looking to build more value to the AEW brand. You're looking to have long-lasting staying power and keeping that connection with Turner open. And part of that is continuously building that library. As much as we don't really care anymore about the Dark and the Elevation YouTube shows, that's content that they have the rights to. So an ROH library, at the end of the day, do I think that it would go to the highest bidder? I think Sinclair, absolutely. They're a corporation. I'm not.
Well, remember the old Turner back in the day, the $2 million library fiasco, or what the supposed price was for WCW at the time when that's all New York wanted when they went out. So that comes to mind if Vince calls Sinclair directly and says, hey, can we get this? And they do the same thing Turner did at the time and said, we don't care about the wrestling thing. Yeah, sure. Here you go. I mean, I just wonder who gets that phone first if they haven't already called and said, we want it.
Now, of course, on social media, as soon as that news was announced, you got a lot of the fans that started their dream booking in terms of who should go where. And as we talked about earlier, I don't think you're going to see as many going to AEW and WWE as you may think. ROH has always had a very good relationship with Impact Wrestling. I think this would, if there's a time, if Axis or if Anthem really is looking forward to really being competitive and getting Impact back on the board as being taken seriously and credible. They've always had a really good relationship with Impact Wrestling. They always had the agreement where talent was going back and forth and working events and stuff like that. So I think with the talk about Impact being in negotiations with Braun Strowman or Adam Shearer now and Bray Wyatt and some of the other people that have been leaked and linked to Impact Wrestling, and them also, they've been extending some contracts too over the last year, like Moose and some people that have claimed that New York and AEW have had some interest. I think this would be a time if Anthem's really looking to get the Impact brand back on. Now, I don't think you're going to overnight just add a bunch of ROH talent to the roster and say, okay, here we go. You still have a shitty network deal. You still have a shitty TV deal right now with Axis, but it's at least a start. And I think there's an open door, and you've got it. I think for talent leaving ROH, I think you will see definitely a few people that could go to New York. I could see. I told you earlier, I could see a Jonathan Gresham. I could see a Jay Lethal. I could see those kind of guys maybe going to New York. They're more technically sound. They could be used at the NXT with the training. Jonathan Gresham is one of the head trainers for Ring of Honor. Jay Lethal is also, I think, dipped his hands in the training over the last couple of years. So, and that's always something that's a plus if you're going to New York. They always need veterans that can also work behind the scenes with some of the talent. And occasionally, when we feel like it, we'll give you a little push. We'll give you a little TV time. So I don't know. Your thoughts on that?
It'll be interesting, especially with the change in WWE, because now we heard they don't want to hire all these indie guys, or that they've said, well, we want to develop our own young and up and coming guys, and we want to develop them
and
that
we don't
way.
want them small.
So in ROH, I mean, that's what you have right now is guys, good workers, are good getting like the Danhausen thing is intriguing to me. I don't know if Vince would ever gimmick at all, but it is proven to
would be perfect and tailor-made for Triple H's NXT.
It would have been.
The original.
It would have been. And it would have gotten over huge, because just think about the mainstream popularity he's gotten over just in Ring of Honor. So if he had the WWE big factory behind it, I think it would have been huge. It still could be huge with merchandising to kids and all the other stuff. I mean, just all the stuff in itself. I mean, I just saw the photo with him and Cena at one of the Comic-Cons, and it was fantastic stuff again that Danhausen put on there. So it was just, I was thinking, boy, they could make some big cash on this, but I don't know if he goes there. I really don't. And I think this AEW's got a chance to grab some more guys, but the problem is, will they have the company strength, I guess, to spread and grow? Because we've seen they haven't been growing that show lately, and things are getting a little concerning, even with the things that they've had, the good things, signings they've had come up here.
Yeah, after the past couple of consecutive weeks of being on Saturday nights, they were back in their regular time slot, and this was being built around CM Punk. Even though we've seen him damn near every week on Dynamite over the last couple of months, this was being built around CM Punk making his in-ring Dynamite debut against Bobby Fish. And also 10 of the Dark Order was going to be taking on Jon Moxley in the AEW. This was the world title Eliminator Tournament that's also been going on with them. So on commentary, we had JR, Shivani, Excalibur. I still can't get used to that tandem. I think, I mean, at some point, and there was talks earlier in the year, at least during the summer, that Jim Ross might be slowly but surely phasing off and doing more of the one-on-one, the interviews, and more of the stuff that really means something, like important matches and stuff like that. But I think, to me, you got 3 leading men on commentary. So,
and two, with the JR thing, I mean, thoughts and good vibes going out to him with the skin cancer diagnosis and with that going on with him right now. So I know health-wise, too, and he's always said, I signed a 3-year contract with AEW. This will be the 3rd year coming up, so I don't know if he'll continue on in this role or not. He might. He might not. I don't know. It just depends on how everything's going. But I understand he's going through chemo now to get treatment while this is going on. I think he had chemo this morning. I don't want to speculate, but I think he had a treatment as he was going to work today. So, I mean, hats off to JR for trying this out. But, yeah, I think, there could be some changes coming up in that booth, and just contractually, because JR's contract is coming up, too, at the end of the year.
This was going to be a night where, and I told you, I said, maybe they would have been better off being on Saturday night this week, because there was stiff competition. You had Game 2 of the World Series. You had NBA basketball on ESPN. But they were going to be the lead-in for NHL on TNT. So
that's
they
right.
Gave
they did have Shivani there. I was thinking about that. Shivani's a huge Braves fan, so I know he was at the desk with one eye on a tablet or a phone, not 100%. I remember they did the Brick Baker thing backstage, but I know huge Braves fan, so he was keeping an eye on the World Series.
They start this show off the way that they felt they could if you're going to be going against the NBA and the World Series all in the same night in your regular time slot. That was giving the people CM Punk to start off the match with him and Bobby Fish. Punk came out. Great pop, as usual. Yep. Didn't take long for Fish to get some dirty tactics in this match. He utilized his legs quite a bit. Major CM Punk chants going on in this match. He went classic, hit the crisp scoop slam, if you remember that. Also, two of them, actually, as a matter of fact, and then ended up doing the third. He went for the GTS. Fish was able to wiggle himself free. Got some suplexes, some lateral presses out of Fish. CM Punk was able to turn the tide back in his favor. You just had a match in which there was just nothing but CM Punk chants the entire time. Eventually, this fight got out to the outside between Punk and Fish, who Fish kept focusing on the leg of Punk's. Fight then went to the turnbuckle, and it was Punk who knocked Bobby Fish down for his macho elbow. Yeah. They then got up to their feet. They start slugging it out. Fish gave a harsh kick to the thigh of Punk, but Punk then nailed him with a calf kick and a running neck breaker and a knee strike in the corner with for a 2 count. Punk then signaled for the GTS. Almost got it in. Bobby Fish was able to kind of interfere in that, to intercept it at least, drag and screw Punk down with a sliding lariat, and then Punk was able to hit a double leg jackknife for a pin. Bobby powered out. Because, of course, he did, because you can't have Punk winning his AEW debut on Dynamite without hitting the GTS, which he did, but it also hurt his leg in the process. Took a moment, recovered, got Fish down, got the shoulder. Fish was able to get a shoulder up, but that was after the 3. So CM Punk was your winner, victorious in that match. I mean, again, Bobby Fish, not that we were expecting Bobby Fish to come in and be a title contender night 1, but already you've sent him at Sammy Guevara, he lost, and you've sent him at CM Punk, and he's lost so far. But nevertheless, you needed to, I guess, put somebody in there that was going to lose to Punk. He's already beat the Danny Garcias of the world, and he beat the Matt Seidels, and he's beat the
But Bobby
I guess
Fish
you're just
now,
putting Punk through the AEW Dark Squad.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Fish now is like probably one of your most expensive jobbers. I know they tried to make him look strong with the kick out at the end.
Would
but
that be Sean Spears still?
Well,
we'll get on him later.
We'll get on him, but man, this is not good booking for Bobby Fish, a guy that you could pair with Adam Cole, but we'll get on that later too. But man, too much Punk now, too much. I thought we were going to have special attraction Punk, but this is the problem. That's the thing. Now he's running through all these guys, and I don't put it on Punk. I just, a guy wants to be active. He wants to showcase. He wants to wrestle. I don't blame him for that at all, but some of the guys you're throwing at there, this isn't going to help. And I'm not saying, throw a MIG at him right away. No, not that at all. Just, you guys got enhancement, like we talked about, enhancement talents. Just throw that at him first instead of named guys, because now you're killing your roster.
Or maybe I just don't need to see CM Punk wrestling every week.
Maybe
too. I'm just cool with CM Punk coming out, cutting promos, and eventually you can. Well, did we ever get a finish out of him and Team Taz?
Well, I know he had the challenge for Starks, but we haven't heard anything, and we have a pay-per-view coming up. So Are we going to hot shot into that here in the next 2 weeks? Because that pay-per-view is coming up in about 3 weeks.
After that match, we ended up cutting to Malachi Black, who actually did a pretty good job. He divided Cody's family up and stirred some shit up and actually got the crowd to boo him.
Finally.
I mean, took him, 6 weeks?
It took him a long time. I guess the Boston crowd was not into it. I don't know. Anywhere else, they'd cheer for it.
Well, I'll tell you who was not into Boston. That was MJF. They booked a match between MJF and Bryce Donovan.
Okay, so Bryce Donovan should have been going against CM Punk.
Bryce Donovan, MJF went in for a handshake. Bryce attempted one. He ended up getting kicked, and there was a heat seeker, and MJF was able to pin him with a finger. The disrespect of MJF. Afterwards, MJF took the microphone and proceeded to trash Boston and their ugly fat women, as MJF put it. He then focused his attention on Darby Allin. He claimed that Darby is scared to even show up, and then he made an example of Sting. And Max said that he can focus on the world title picture no matter what happens after Full Gear, which is where he and Darby will be getting it on. He told the crowd, shut their mouths, and that was when Sting music hit. All of a sudden, we got the lights out, of course.
Yep.
And MJF started laughing after they hit the Sting music. Then the lights go out, and then this time it's not Pinnacle. It isn't. It's a video that appears. It's Darby Allin. He's putting a MJF mask through a table. It's someone who was wearing one at a concert in this video package they put together on the Jumbotron. Lights came back on. Sting is behind those 3 out of the 5 members of the Pinnacle, which, by the way, it wasn't your full Pinnacle. It was just MJF, Wardlow, and Shawn Spears. There was no FTR.
Yeah.
They and Tully, they're doing their own thing. It's kind of like another inner circle, really, if you ask me, in terms of everyone just kind of doing their own thing right now.
Spears the wingman. I mean, it was just like, what are you doing here? I was just like, why are you in the ring with the package is Wardlow and MJF, and I know this Pinnacle thing is done with. Why are you here?
Yeah. Sting ended up hitting Wardlow with the bat, and then that sent Max to the outside. Standing behind him was a person dressed like the Invisible Man. That person unmasked, it turns out to be Darby Allin, who then takes it to the Pinnacle, and he had the thumbtacks on the skateboard. They all bailed. Darby then challenged MJF to a fight at Full Gear. So that's where we're going. Back from commercial, it was revealed that Britt Baker was going to be facing Abaddon in a trick-or-treat match.
This is because she skipped out on the match on the Chris Jericho Cruise, which I forgot was
completely forgot about the Jericho Cruise. Would have been nice to have had a Dynamite once again on the Jericho Cruise like they did before. Now, stipulation on this match, if Abaddon wins, she'll get a title shot, and the bout was going to be, of course, no DQ for the trick-or-treat match, but this is a non-title trick-or-treat match, but if Abaddon wins it, she'll get her title shot. So basically, Abaddon will
get the title shot.
She will win this match.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of seems. Afterwards, we got a match that I felt, and I have not looked at the lineup yet for AEW Rampage for this Friday, but I feel like this could have been your main event for that show. This is for the TNT Championship. It was the champion Sammy Guevara defeating Ethan Page. Now, this was a silly-ass stipulation. If Sammy Guevara just so happened to lose to Page, he would have to be forced to leave the inner circle.
Oh, that was the stip? I see. I didn't even pay any attention to it.
That was the stipulation.
I thought it was for the
match.
Title.
No, well, it was a championship match, but also Guevara would not only lose the championship, but he would have to leave the inner circle, even though we haven't seen the inner circle collectively as a group in over 2 months since.
Who the hell came up with that stip?
Well,
how could they even enforce it if it's the Lambert crew? How would they even enforce that? If it's not, it's supposed to be gang mentality, the inner circle would come up with that stipulation. If he's not performing well or what, I don't understand. Well, it's Jericho booking this shit, so who knows?
Guevara, he wasted no time. He got an outside dive in early. The brawl, they got to the outside. Match hadn't even officially started yet. Eventually, the guys get back into the ring. The ref asks Ethan Page if he was ready to go. The bell goes off. Guevara showed his shine against Ethan. As we see, again, we see Tony Nese in the crowd.
Yeah.
This is a couple of weeks in a row now. We've seen Tony Nese sitting out front row in the AEW crowd. Ethan Page caught Sammy Guevara up top, gave him a backbreaker that sent Guevara to the outside. We got a commercial break. We came back. Page was in control, went for the ego's edge, but Guevara was able to turn the tide and hit a cutter. And eventually, soon a Spanish fly for a near fall at that point. Later on, Sammy was able to hit a shooting star press to the outside on Ethan Page, which actually looked pretty good. And this, for the most part, this is a pretty good match.
Yeah.
I'd probably say this is probably the best match on the show, at least I thought. But even through all that with the shooting star, Sammy covered but only got a 2, went for a GTH, but then Page was able to dead weight him and then slam him down for a 2 count. There was a lot of Sammy chants in this match. Page was able to climb up top, but then Sammy Guevara met him, only to get body slammed, hard lariat by Ethan Page for a 2 count, but ultimately Sammy was able to win it with a flipping pin after a wild reversal by Guevara, so there you go.
I got to ask you, though. He tried a GTH. Punk has a GTS.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same move.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Sammy even trying that move?
Everybody's doing their own thing in AEW.
But that
Clearly.
you got to protect the other guy, your main guy's finisher, and you're using it potentially as just a transition spot.
Yeah.
Where 40 minutes ago he won a match with that. Ooh, I would not want to have that talk backstage with Mr. Punk about doing that shit.
Yeah, after Guevara won the match, immediately Ethan Page started to attack him. Scorpio Sky then ran from the back and was able to join in. That was until the Inner Circle came out to scare off the Men of the Year. Jericho was on the mic. He said the only person Ethan Page beats is himself in a hotel room. And there is now a 10-man tag match that's official at Full Gear, which will be a Minneapolis street fight.
Boy, and I could tell you that's going to be a big throwdown.
Down on First Ave.
Down on First Ave, I've seen some wicked fights on. No, I really haven't. I mean, actually, they shouldn't have branded this a Minneapolis street fight. I mean, just with all the shit that's gone on in the last year and a half there, they weren't really thinking about the branding of a Minneapolis street fight, so not good on their part.
Afterwards, we ended up cutting to Tony Schiavone, who was standing with Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. Kingston laid into Bryan Danielson about him not working hard. Every morning he takes his Zoloft to battle depression, and so he doesn't do something he doesn't want to do.
Jeez.
So he's going to show Danielson that on Friday at Rampage. He walked away, and it's a pretty intense promo.
Yeah.
And that's apparently what Danielson wanted to see. He said he respected Eddie Kingston, said that he knows Kingston does indeed work hard. Him and Mox are the 2 toughest people that he knows, but that's not going to stop him from beating Eddie Kingston on Friday. How did we get here?
Yeah. Again, 2 of your most popular guys, and you're throwing them together. Now, is this the Eliminator shit again? Is that the deal? Part of that?
Yes.
But you would think, why with the booking, why too many face
I
matches
wouldn't have
are
those
going
guys
on?
meet each other until later on in the tournament.
Exactly. I mean, that's the opening round. I mean, dude, this is getting almost Stone Cold Brock Lesnar vibes of King of the Ring when Stone Cold said fuck that. That's a money match. I mean, what are we doing with some of these matches in the opening round of this thing?
Yeah. We go to commercial break. We get back, and we see Penta El Cerro M and Rey Fenix. They make it official. They're going to put their tag team belts on the line at Full Gear against FTR. We ended up getting our 4th match of the show. This was for the TBS Women's Championship Tournament. This is the opening round, and we got a rematch between Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. The fight, this was another battle between the 2. They pretty intense. Shida was able to punch and stomp at Deeb after Deeb kind of turned on her after that first match that prevented Hikaru Shida from getting that almighty, was that the 50th win?
50th win crystal plaque or whatever the hell it was got
Deeb
smashed.
said the hell with this plaque. She broke it. Anyways, Deeb caught her in the corner. She wrapped Shida's leg around the ring post. Shida was able to pull Deeb's head into the very same ring post. We go back and forth. Aubrey Edwards The ref in this match. We go to break. We come back from it. Shida, she kept her momentum going. Got some hard shots in. Got a big missile drop kick from the top. Eventually, some hard European uppercuts by Serena Deeb, who also countered a straitjacket briefly until Hikaru Shida was able to nail it. Got an inverted Falcon arrow for a very near fall, and then Shida was able to hit a knee strike to the back of Deeb's head. Got another near fall. Finally, Deeb fought free, hit a dragon screw to the match. Shida was able to then kick Deeb to the outside. They went back and forth, got some chairs. Of course, Shida, doing heel shit, grabbing the chairs to leap off of and all that shit. But eventually, Deeb was able to toss one of the chairs, and Shida then decided to use the stairs to hit a drop kick instead. And this went back and forth, back and forth. We got Serena Deeb sliding right back out to the outside. She got a figure four to Shida on the ring post. Shades of Bret Hart, if you will. And Serena Deeb was actually wearing the purple and black. She was actually wearing those colors during the match. We got a question mark kick from Shida before a figure four. And then Shida struggled for a little bit, got to the ropes, and that got a This Is Awesome chance. So the crowd actually enjoyed this match. It was pretty much nonstop throughout. Serena was able to present Shida's plaque to use in the match, but Shida was able to grab a hold of it. Now, Shida, again, shades of potentially maybe being a heel. She contemplated using it, but then she gave it to Aubrey Edwards instead. Deeb was able to poke her in the eye, rolled her up. Shida kicked out, but then Shida bridged her for 1, 2, 3, and finally picking up that 50th win. So the 50th win, and also advancing in the TBS Women's Championship Tournament. There you go, Hikaru Shida. After the match, Deeb unleashed as she took a chair to Shida's knee, put her in a hold. Officials and Jerry Lynn came out to break this thing up. The announcers questioned Shida's health afterwards. And we end up going to the back where it was revealed that due to injury to Matt Seidel, it was going to be Dante Martin versus Matt Seidel. So due to an injury, or I apologize, Mike Seidel.
Okay.
It was going to be the match between Dante Martin and Matt Seidel. Now this is going to be the third match for these guys. Leo Rush is going to be ringside. Leo Rush and Matt Seidel apparently not seeing eye to eye. Leo Rush is supposed to be this big investor now, this big Wall Street guy, right?
Yeah.
Where's his suits? Vince at least put him in a suit.
Yeah.
Vince put him in a suit when he was with Bobby.
Yep.
Looked great, great talker. Still a great talker. I don't see any suits.
And the other thing missing, where's the muscle behind that mouth of his? I mean, that's the thing. That's part of the package. It's missing something here, and the suit's one thing, but also the hired gun behind him, where the hell is it?
Well, for right now, it's got to be Dante Martin. We got an AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament opening round match. We got 10 of the Dark Order versus Jon Moxley. This match didn't really last too long. Moxley, he's coming through the crowd, and he eventually, I didn't know if this was a prop or an actual fan.
No, it was
Moxley's
a real fan.
getting his strut in, and he just completely yanks the fan away from the gate and goes right through, got into the ring, and just starts stone cold stomping the hell out of 10 of the Dark Order. He was going pretty heelish in this match.
Bushwhacker Moxley, as I call him now, because he just walks the ring like a fucking troll. I mean, he just looks pissed off, and it's getting a little old to me now.
Yeah, he also tore through Ten's mask. His mask was all torn to shit. He bloodied him up a little bit, and then there was a paradigm shift, and boom. There you go, match over. So Jon Moxley advancing in the World Title Eliminator Tournament. Afterwards, we had FTR and Tully. They're cutting a promo in the back, and this was in regards to their match at Full Gear. They want their AEW tag team titles to come home to Poppy, as they said. And these are guys, as I said, FTR, why didn't Vince give these guys more promo time? These guys can talk. Now, I'm not saying they don't need Tully. I understand the presentation. Tully represents old school wrestling, the way that it used to be. And Tully was a tag team champ himself with Arn, and that's how FTR has been presented, as a new age Tully and Arn. But man, these guys they can talk. They can cut a promo, no problem. And they did a really good job of building up this tag match between them and Penta and Rey Fenix.
Remember, Vince had big plans for him, though. They had to shave guys in the shower on Raw. So that was the big plan that Vince had. So he would never let her put him on the mic.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes came out to cut a promo. Boston gave him some major fucking boos to start this thing off. Cody heard him. He said that he hears it online. He hears old wrestling managers shouting at clouds on social media. He hears it all. Then
Jim Cornette.
He proceeded to hit a Tiger Driver 98 to beat Malachi Black, but for a brief moment he thought of hitting a different move.
Ooh.
He said, would he have broken his trust with the fans if he would have done it? He said, do you know why he didn't? He said it would be too easy. He feels as a fan that you can boo or cheer all you want. He implores the fans to put themselves in Cody's shoes. He threw his Nikes in the ring. He's got his hot wife. He's got a brother who is a Hall of Famer and arguably better than he will ever will be. He's talked about his father, Dusty, how he's got a dad with a unachievable legacy, and he will not turn. He loves the fans too much. He apologized to everyone for going to Hollywood. Of course, you would say that after your season of Roads to the Top is over.
Done, yeah.
He then turned to Arn, said the same to Arn to his face. He apologized, admitted that Arn was right. And as they shake hands, out comes Andrade to cut a promo. And again, I don't really care to hear Andrade cutting his promos, but at least Andrade said some things that kind of got the crowd a little kind of oohing a little bit. Mm-hmm. He told Cody people don't like him. And Andrade admit they don't care about me either. Here's the big difference between you and I. I really don't care about these fans.
Yeah, exactly.
You're out here caping and sipping to the fans. So he then made fun of Cody's stupid neck tattoo, as he called it. And next he got into the ring, and then Andrade said that he can make Cody his little bitch. And afterwards, we got another lights out for a second time in this show.
Yes. Yeah.
They come back on this time, and it's Malachi Black who missed it Cody. They then double up, and they attack both Cody and Arn, and then they were saved by Pac, who took out Black, and then he took out Andrade. The crowd popped for Pac. They didn't give a shit for Cody at that point.
Yeah.
And he ended up flicking both guys off, and that ended that segment.
Strange partnership between Black right now and Andrade, or LED or whatever the hell we're calling him. It's just, I don't get it right now, because you're trying to make Black as this badass by himself, and now you're teaming the two together.
Well, you had to continue what you had kicked off last week on Rampage, when it just came random out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I thought Black and Andrade would be working up against Cody.
Yeah, so I guess this will be our tag team match for the pay-per-view. Yes.
Well, you don't have anything else for these guys right
now,
now, so you might have to do a tag match. As I said before, as promised, I said, tonight I was with the dumb shit, and that's what we got in this match. Our main event was the Dark Order, John Silver, Colt Cabana, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno versus the Super Clique. Everybody was in costume for this one, PJ. The Elite, they were the Ghostbusters. Kenny used his proton pack to his advantage. Tide eventually turned, and soon Ono, dressed as a cowboy, he rode Kenny. Eventually, the Dark Order, they all body slammed the Elite in unison, and then we cut to a break as they pose. We come back from the break. Colt Cabana, he got in some major offense after Grayson highlights for the Dark Order. Rich Knox got laid out by Matt Jackson. Knox was the ref in this match. Matt then hits a low blow to Stu Grayson as the ref is down. And then they get the proton packs. And then after that, Dark Order, they all get up. They get sandwiched by the proton packs, and then they eventually all collectively powerbomb, Shield style, Colt Cabana on to the pack.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the Dark Order, they come out. Whomever is dressed up as the horse got low blowed and BTE triggered. Then they unmask him only to reveal that it was Brandon Cutler, although we thought Brandon Cutler was Stay Puft the whole time, who came out with the Elite. Well, the crowd then realized, well, shit, it's got to be a babyface underneath the Stay Puft mask, and they unveiled it to be Hangman Page. Gave a dead eye to Kenny. John Silver then hit a spin doctor on Matt for the 1-2-3. So the Dark Order winners in this match. Post-match, Hangman celebrating with beers with the Dark Order. And the crowd popped for it, but this was something, I thought we were kind of getting Hangman away from the Dark Order.
No, we're back on the dumb shit because it's Halloween.
But
at least his facials were great when he took the mask off. But did you notice at the end he couldn't get his damn costume off?
Couldn't get the costume off, but there was my thing with Hangman Page is that we needed to get him away from the Dark Order to make him be taken seriously again as a world title contender.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that. He took some time off. Wife had the kid. He's back. We know that he's going at Omega. They have to for the AEW title. But then we've got him associating back again with the Dark Order.
And then the whole thing, too.
This is both guys
it's
right now
strange.
are looking goofy.
Yeah.
These are your world title guys right now.
Yeah. No, well, not technically because we have this bullshit tournament we're doing to actually have the title match at this next pay-per-view. So these two shouldn't really be touching yet if that's how they're planning it. So I don't understand why they're going this route when we know the winner of whatever the hell this tournament is getting the title match at the pay-per-view.
I need these guys separate from the factions right now. And
Yes.
I feel like the factions are being used as a smoke and mirrors because of the fact that Omega, we haven't seen Don Callis in about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what Kenny needs right now. I need Kenny away from the elite, and I need Hangman just being the solo guy that I know that he can be and just have a good old-fashioned. But you've accumulated talent over the last couple of months. We've set up new angles, new feuds that's honestly overshadowed and kind of made you not really give a fuck about the AEW Championship in a way.
No, and Adam Cole is lost in the shadows here. I was just like, oh, yeah, that's right. He's on their group right now. And like, this guy was the biggest star, probably one of the biggest stars in wrestling, and all of a sudden he goes here and he's lost in the shuffle because he's got to be with the best friends there.
All right, there you go. That's your AEW Dynamite review for October 27th. We're going to come back at you in a couple days because we're going to give you some SmackDown and Rampage stuff. We'll let you know what happened with that. Season premiere for SmackDown was actually last Friday, right?
Yes, it was.
So we're going to see how they continued the momentum, which probably won't be much.
They're not getting kicked off because of World Series, are they?
They
No, that's right. I think they're doing the Saturday schedule. So, yeah. So they're actually on the main channel.
Their key to success right now is Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns.
Yes,
Keep
it is.
Roman Reigns on the show, and you'll be all right. You'll maintain whatever shitty rating you've been popping lately.
For the first half hour at least, and then it goes downhill from there.
There you go. Bush League Mud Show, Slade.
PJ.
Like and subscribe us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Social media at Bush League MS Pod. We'll be back at you soon.